Hello people them, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is your boy Toyin, and in today's video I'm going to talk a little bit about how mentoring has helped me become a better software engineer. So before I jump into things, as always, like, share and subscribe, and let's get straight into it. Okay, I'm going to give you 4 reasons why or how mentoring has helped me become a better software engineer. Stick around for reason number 4 because I think that one is especially important in this day and age. So reason number 1, really mentoring has helped me become better as a software engineer because it's improved my communication skills, right? It's one of the reasons I started doing YouTube, to improve my communication skills, but I do mentoring, which is something I'm very passionate about anyway, and it's really helped me become better or more efficient in the way I communicate, more effective, let's say. Right, so one of the top skills as a software engineer, senior engineer, any role really in tech, you're always working in teams, always working with other people. That means communication is super important. Like, it's probably the number 1 soft skill that is looked for in engineers outside of the hard skills, right? And mentoring gives you an appreciation for how important communication is. Communication is a two-way street. So you need to make sure that the other person understands what you're saying. So it's not just about how I'm saying things, it's how the other person is receiving it. And when you're mentoring someone, getting your message across to them, trying different ways of getting your message across, or trying different ways of making them see something becomes super important. That's one of the reasons why mentoring for me has made me a better software engineer, because I'm able to appreciate and really work on my own communication skills, because I talk to my mentees a lot about how they need to improve their communication skills, right? But when you talk to someone about something, when you teach someone something, it makes you as well reassess how important that thing is. Then the second thing that is kind of linked to communication is patience. So patience in communication, patience with someone else when dealing with someone, patience when dealing with someone that doesn't have as much experience or skill in a certain area as you. So being patient in the way you communicate with them, right? So again, talking to mentees, obviously you are their mentor because you have more experience in something. It might be life, it might be in being a developer, it might be in whatever area. So you have more experience than them. So you need to be patient when explaining certain concepts to them, when getting them to see things a certain way or what you believe to be the right way, when trying to steer them in the right direction. That all needs patience, and it's something you really get an appreciation for when you're mentoring someone. And it's something that has definitely made me a better software engineer, because in engineering, in development, you're always talking to people that have less technical skills, more technical skills, stakeholders that have different interests or things that they're really passionate about. And sometimes it can take them a little while to really appreciate or understand what you might be saying to them. So as an engineer, I talk to non-technical business analysts, for example. Sometimes I'm explaining something and they're like, I don't understand, or they're not appreciating how long this might take, etc. Right? So patience is really important. That's reason number 2. Reason number 3. The reason number 3, I think, is one that's kind of overlooked sometimes, and it's actually something that's very important. So I think for me, when I'm mentoring, one of the most important things for me is that it gives me an opportunity to relearn the basics or gain an appreciation for the basics, right? So a lot of times, let's say you forget some of the basics around how software works, how certain technologies work, why certain technologies are used. Because if you've been using a certain technology for like 5 years, you're not going to remember exactly why or appreciate exactly why are we using this technology in the first place. There's probably a good reason, such as the most efficient, it integrates well with other technologies, etc. It's simple to implement. But when you don't talk about this at all for 5 years, because everyone just uses it, you might forget. So very recently I had a situation where a junior engineer asked me, oh, what is liquid base? Right? It's not something I talk about, I even think about really, I just use it. I've been using it for the last 5 years. So it's something instinctively I just use, right? You want to make a modification to a database, liquid base, and there you go. Change sets, no problem. But when I got asked that question, that is when I was like, oh, what is liquid based? I don't know the technical definition, right? I kind of know what it does. Well, I do know what it does. I don't know exactly what you would call it. A piece of software, technology that helps you modify databases, etc. Right? So having been asked that question by someone I'm mentoring, a junior engineer, it made me go back and relearn. Okay, this is what liquid based actually is, and this is why we use it, right? To make sure we have a history of the changes we make to a database, and no one can just fuck with your database, essentially, right? But that wouldn't have happened if the junior engineer hadn't asked me that question. That's another real benefit of mentoring, and something massive you can get out of it is that you get opportunity, a chance to relearn the basics. It's always said that teaching someone helps you a lot because you remember that thing, and that is kind of essentially what you get with mentoring. And then reason number 4, and I think this one is super important, and probably one that is often overlooked, right? And in engineers and software engineers, it's something you don't really appreciate until you talk to someone that is maybe at the beginning of their career, right? And that is an appreciation for how far I've come, right? Technically, from a technical perspective, I know a lot of technical things, how far I've come in my career, how well I do certain things, how well I explain things, how well I communicate, all of these things, right? Having an appreciation for them can really help in combating imposter syndrome. People talk so much about imposter syndrome because it's so real, and most people, if not everyone, at some point or another feels imposter syndrome. You feel like, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough to be here. Oh, I don't know if I know enough to be here. When I became a senior engineer, I was like, oh, I'm quite young. I don't know if I have enough knowledge to, be a senior engineer, to mentor junior engineers, etc. Imposter syndrome is real. It's easy to happen. It happens to basically everyone. You just need to find ways to combat that. And for me, mentoring has been one of those ways, because having junior people or younger people, let's say either younger in age or younger in their career, in their experience of whatever it might be, right? Having them say to you, oh, Toyin, it's so great that you are helping me with this thing. I can really see how far you've come, or you're so good at X, Y, and Z, right? Not in a cocky way, but it kind of revalidates how far I've actually come in my career, in my technical know-how, in the way I communicate. That is one thing I think is such a massive benefit of mentoring, and it's probably something that is often overlooked or very easy to overlook. Mentoring is not just for the person you're mentoring. There's a lot of things that you yourself get out of it. And I think one thing that's super important is the fact that you get an appreciation for the fact that you've actually come really far, right? You're in a position to mentor. And oftentimes I think people think that you need to be an executive director or something to even begin mentoring people, and that's actually not the case. Oftentimes, actually, it's much more valuable if you have just come past a certain stage and you then give back to people that are in the stage below, if that makes sense, right? So give an example. If you have just finished university, you could then mentor someone that is just about to join university, right? That difference of 3 to 4 years and that stage you've just gone past is a huge benefit to that person that is wanting to enter that stage. And I think it's such a massive benefit, understated benefit of mentoring. Thanks for sticking with me. It's a bit of rambling, but I just wanted to do a quick video on how mentoring has helped me become a better software engineer. And hopefully it's made you think about, maybe you should mentor as well. Maybe you should start picking up something as well, because being a software engineer is not just all about the hard skills and how many programming languages you know, how many frameworks you know. It's so much more than just the hard skills. So important to have good soft skills when it comes to software engineering. But yeah, thanks for sticking with me. I'll see you in the next one. Bow!